Now at 9, how the Carl Junction School District is protecting its systems and students from cyber attacks. Plus, an effort to go green with solar panels pits a Kansas couple into a legal battle with their homeowners association.
It's Food Truck Friday in Carthage, Missouri, and we're figuring out how the workers stay cool even during heat advisories. I'm Amber Jenkins with the story.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Tanya Bach. In the coming weeks, students will be back in the classroom. Many will complete the assignments on Chromebooks and tablets as cyber risks continue to grow. It's a topic that parents we spoke to have top of mind, keeping their kids safe online. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has more.
Sophomore Jocelyn Perkins' parents won't let her have social media until she's 16 years old. The reason is clear for her.
They want me to just know what the dangers are of social media before I get it, and just see how it kind of affects people around me first.
There are many ways to keep an eye on what their kids are doing online, especially as the school year starts.
Both Apple and Android phones today have parental controls built in, so if you just spend a little time figuring out how to use those on your phone, that's a good place to start.
Mother Teresa Locke already has that figured out.
My husband and I monitor everything that he's watching, making sure that there's parental controls, and then we limit the amount of time that he's getting on those as well.
Carl Junction School's technology director, Marshall Grant, also encourages having conversation with kids about cybersecurity, even if it is an indirect conversation.
What's the funniest thing you saw online today? And maybe they'll answer that question for you, or asking, what have you seen today online that concerns you, or what have you seen online today that you have questions about? And that might spark some conversation.
Schools often use two-factor authentication to add a second layer of security to online accounts. It verifies your identity using, for example, a phone or other mobile device to prevent anyone but you from logging in.
Carl Junction schools also have restrictions in place to manage what students can access.
You want to preserve a lot of what they're seeing now so that they're not being exposed to that at such an early age. So it's definitely a concern.
In Carl Junction, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
Graham also advises people to pay attention when clicking on external links and reach out to specialists when unsure if a message is legitimate or not. Hope is on the horizon for the more than 1,500 Knoll Tyson workers soon to be out of a job. Earlier this week, Tyson Foods announced it would be closing its Knoll plant in October. The McDonald County Chamber of Commerce is planning a career and resource fair next week to help the displaced workers and others who are exploring new career opportunities. It'll be held next Wednesday, August 16th, from 2 to 7 p.m. at the River Ranch Resort in Knoll. More heat is on the horizon. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us with a first look at the weather.
Yeah, it was definitely a hot one for us today. Our high temp was 95 degrees, but the humidity was pretty high. So at certain times during the afternoon, we had heat indices, most of us between 105 and about 110 across the region. Average high is 91 degrees, so the actual temperature about 4 degrees above where we should be. We're still sitting mid to upper 80s, so it's muggy outside. We've been tracking some thunderstorms that have been kind of dropping through southeastern Kansas, now kind of sinking south of the viewing area, but we should get some more in here a little bit later on tonight. So we're going to go after midnight. We're going to stop here right at midnight. Here's 11:30. But watch these storms start to pop up. Here's 2 o'clock in the morning. We can go to 3, 4, 5. They start to explode and expand. So we are going to get showers and thunderstorms in here tonight. Of course, I'm going to break that whole forecast down for you here in just a bit.
Plans for a Pittsburgh IHOP are still on the plate. Company representatives confirm a new location in the former Gusano's building next to the Meadowbrook Mall is slated to open by the end of the year. Well, Food Truck Friday is underway in Carthage, Missouri, with temps that felt well over 100 degrees. KOAM's Amber Jenkins talked to some workers about what their shift is like during a heat advisory.
We're making a pie. And are you going to like it or pie?
Working in the heat is challenging, and working around objects that generate heat in tight spaces can be difficult. But that's a normal shift for workers in food trucks.
They're calling for 96 degrees, so we're like potato salad. We don't do well when it gets past about 87 degrees. Food trucks are horrible for heat, especially the fry trucks, but Fat Tony's Pizza Kitchen's a bakery. So that means that we're baking in here most of the day.
This is Fat Tony's first Food Truck Friday in Carthage, Missouri, coming from the Springfield area. Whether it's Springfield or Carthage, the Missouri heat is still on food truck workers' minds.
It's pretty hot, sorry.
Don't ever think that we sit there and sweat in your pizza. We don't. So, and some people wonder.
Fat Tony made sure to equip the kitchen with a new AC unit and a fan that pushes out the hot rising air. But for the ventilation systems, it has two purposes.
Ventilation system here on top of the oven that takes cool air from this side, brings it over the top of the oven, and takes it out the other side. And that's what we call our smell-o-vision. Because the smells of the pizza cooking in the oven get pushed out into the crowd, and then of course people go crazy and they have to have a slice of Fat Tony's pizza.
This Food Truck Friday, the city of Carthage is under a heat advisory. However, the workers at Fat Tony's say that battling this heat inside the food trucks is worth it for the community.
We decided to make the drive, and probably one of the best things we ever did. Carthage is just a wonderful, wonderful town. The people are wonderful. And you really can't ask, as a food truck operator, you really can't ask for anything better than that, because I feel like we have a relationship here in Carthage with the people.
Reporting in Carthage, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Yep.
Well, if there's a profession you'd like to see a glimpse of, contact Amber Jenkins on Facebook. According to AAA, gas prices may be on the move again, though this time for the better. While the national average for a gallon of gas sits at just over $3.80, the four states area is at least 20 cents cheaper, with the Arkansas average at just over $3.49. Better still, prices for gas in local counties are even lower, with Crawford County at $3.50, Cherokee County at $3.54, and Jasper County at $3.49. 3 members of the Kansas Supreme Court want to make it easier for prosecutors to convict defendants of kidnapping. In a dissenting opinion, the justices said the court should abandon a legal rule it has used for nearly 50 years in reviewing criminal cases. It stems from a case involving several crimes, including aggravated kidnapping. The majority invoked a rule imposed in a 1976 decision that declared a defendant could not be convicted of kidnapping if the actions covered by that charge are inherent in another crime. A possible medical call turns into a pair of arrests. At about 7 this morning, Jasper County deputies responded to a call concerning a man sleeping in a car. When officers arrived at Zora and State Highway 249, they found a driver and a passenger asleep in the SUV. During the investigation, they also found roughly 300 pounds of telecommunications wire. Authorities arrested both men on charges of felony stealing and possession of drug paraphernalia. In Carl Junction, a traffic stop turns into a criminal discovery. At approximately 6:50 this morning, the Jasper County deputies stopped a van for a traffic violation and suspicious activity in the area of Fur Road and Joplin Street in Carl Junction. During the initial investigation, the deputy noticed the van matched the description of a vehicle which was seen in the area of recent wire theft. During a search of the van, a large amount of copper wire was discovered. The driver arrested for multiple charges, including stealing and driving while revoked. Coming up, we take a look at a new Missouri law that would require doctors to test kids under 6 years old for lead poisoning. A new Missouri law will require doctors to test kids under the age of 6 for lead poisoning. Marina Silva spoke with a pediatrician about how harmful the heavy metal can be to children.
Starting at the end of the month, Missouri children under the age of 6 will be assessed to see if they're at risk of lead poisoning.
There are certain counties within Missouri that have historically had a higher lead level.
The risk is worse in some zip codes than others. Dr. Nathaniel Barb says too much lead in the blood can be a problem for a growing child.
Neurologic problems can occur with heavy metal poisoning. Lead is one of those most common heavy metals.
The new law says parents of toddlers under 3 will be able to have the option to test every year. For parents with children under 6, there's going to be a questionnaire. If there's a concern during the questions, the doctor can recommend a blood test. If those are positive, they can do other tests. Reporting for KY3, I'm Marina Silva.
Hot weather and sports could be a dangerous mix for kids if they're not staying cool. Doctors with the Cleveland Clinic say parents need to make sure their kids are staying hydrated before going to practices and are not skipping any meals. Doctors encourage kids to drink a bottle of water with breakfast and to remember the 3 R's: replacement, replenishment, and recovery. Doctors recommend water for replacing fluids and pickle juice or sports drinks to replenish electrolytes. A new study shows access to drinking water can reduce childhood obesity. Researchers in California looked at 1,200 students at 18 schools in the Bay Area. In half the schools, they installed water dispensers and water bottle filling stations. They also gave the kids bottles and told them it's important to drink water throughout the day. After 15 months, the students at the schools where no changes were made were 7 times more likely to be overweight. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, we'll hear from the Lamar Tigers as they look to claim another state football title this year.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a hot one for us today. Temperatures mid-90s, but heat indices, they were about right around 110 in most locations, which that's no fun. Nice shot right now. Here's Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Look at the parking lots Friday night filling up. And most of us are looking pretty good across the area. Look at our temperatures warming up. We were near 90 yesterday. Mid-90s for us today, and it's going to stay kind of hot as we go through the weekend. Temps still sitting mid-80s outside, so it's going to be a warm, kind of muggy night. We still have heat indices, mid-90s. It still feels like 100 once you get down into northeastern parts of Oklahoma where the humidity is really high, where they've had some showers and thunderstorms. All right, so we're going to drop back lower 70s, scattered thunderstorms as we go into the morning hours. And over the past few hours, you can see this complex kind of dipping right through northeastern Oklahoma. So we've had a few severe thunderstorm mornings in our far southern counties. But besides that, this is all kind of pushing off toward the south. You can still see that big cell, which is now kind of over toward Bentonville. And we still have some scattered showers just south of Miami. One thunderstorm on top of Grand Lake, and then look at that big guy, which is in southern parts of Delaware County. We do have some showers as well across McDonald County. Besides that, I think we're pretty quiet for the next several hours. But look at this complex developing west of Oklahoma City. That is going to expand and work in later on tonight. In fact, let's go through time. I'm going to stop at about midnight. We're still okay. As we continue, look at this. Showers, thunderstorms start to develop. Here's 2 o'clock in the morning. Scattered thunderstorms pushing in, increasing. Here's 5:30 in the morning. It is going to be scattered, but a good chunk of us will get some rain. Scattered thunderstorms continue through the morning hours. So here's 8:30, so it's going to be a wet start. And then finally, late morning, the rain will slowly start to sink out of the region. So if you're at any of the lakes, Beaver, Table Rock, Grand Lake, at least the first half of the day is going to be wet. Look at those rain chances really sneaking up late tonight, and then they go back up again tomorrow night as we get another round of showers and thunderstorms, which is going to push through the region. All right, so here's the noon hour. Still some showers in our southern counties. Then we dry out, we heat up, we go into lower 90s for highs. Then here we go again. So here's 10:30 tomorrow night. Showers, thunderstorms increase, big batch pushes through. Some of those storms could be on the strong side, and then it will start to work out by the time we head into Sunday morning. So over the weekend, we could get some decent amounts of rain. Let's go 92 tomorrow, 94 on Sunday, morning storms. We even get another batch of storms Sunday night into Monday morning, but we do cool down into the 80s Monday and Tuesday. Tanya?
An effort by a Southwest Wichita couple to tap into renewable energy for their home could result in a lien on their property. For the past year, fines from their homeowners association have piled up and have left the couple without options. Sean Lodging has the story.
Yeah, we did what we were supposed to.
Jeff and Jill Terhune have called this home for 13 years.
We're the kind of residents you want in your neighborhood.
In 2020, when they had to redo their roof, they thought it'd be a good idea to add solar. They had companies coming to their door pitching it, so they applied to their HOA.
It came back and said no panels on the front of the house. I went ahead and called the HOA and spoke with their representative, and I said, well, the panels are going on the side of the garage, not the front of the house. And they reiterated, not on the front of the house. I said, okay.
So we thought everything should be fine.
So they went ahead and pulled the trigger.
Time goes by and everything seemed fine until the letters started arriving from their HOA saying the panels were in violation. In July 2022, the fine started.
As of today, it's $3,000.
Last month came the notice of an intent to put a lien on their house.
It's really kind of scary because we don't want to pay money that we don't feel like we should have to, but we need to get it cleared up.
Reaching out to the HOA, the management company tells 12 News that the project approval form Jeff and Jill submitted in 2020 was not approved, and it wasn't until 2022 the developer allowed solar panels in their addition and the policy was drafted. It says panels can only be placed on the rear roof and not be seen from the street. The HOA says the panels on Jeff and Jill's home can be seen from the street. This leaves Jeff and Jill trying to work out what they can even do.
There's got to be a way that it can be worked out, and that's what we are hoping for somehow.
Coming up, inflation is back on the rise after a year of decline. We'll hear why some economists aren't worried about it. Many Americans are trying to beat the heat but are struggling to pay their costly air conditioning bills. Federal data shows about 30 million Americans are unable to pay their energy bills and qualify for assistance, but only a few are receiving the much needed help for their summer bills. Inflation went up in July after 12 straight months of declines, but some economists aren't worried. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera explains from Washington.
Inflation got a little hotter in July. Prices are up 3.2% compared to a year ago, an increase of 0.2% from the previous month.
Look, this obviously was better than expected. The survey had it expected at 3.3. We came in at 3.2.
Housing was the biggest reason for the uptick. Prices for food like beef, bread, and apples also went up. But the cost of airline fares, used cars and trucks, and medical care went down.
I think the broad takeaway here is that the inflation that we're seeing is in all the stuff that consumers really have no choice but to buy. So housing, energy, food.
Economists are keeping a close eye on core inflation, which strips out food and energy costs. They're seeing a bright spot with that number remaining at 0.2% from June to July.
Inflation is still with us. It's not going down as fast as we'd like, but it is increasing at a lesser rate.
Overall inflation has plunged from last summer's peak of 9.1%, a sign that the Federal Reserve's aggressive interest rate hikes are taking effect. Still, it's higher than the Fed's target rate of 2%.
You know, you don't raise rates and suddenly everything changes. It takes time.
This price data will be one of the key measures that the Fed will take into account when deciding whether to raise interest rates for the 12th time since March 2022. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Well, Target is recalling some candles that could pose an injury risk to consumers. The recall covers 2.2 million Threshold branded glass jar candles that come in multiple sizes and different scents. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the jars can break and cause lacerations or burns. Some scents recalled include blue agave and cactus, frosted vanilla cupcake, rose petal, and lotus and pumpkin spice. Up next, we take a look at a new Barbie being released by Mattel in honor of one of the movie characters. Mattel is now expanding its Barbie line to include some of the iconic characters and outfits that appeared in the Barbie movie. That includes a limited edition of Weird Barbie for sale. Actress Kate McKinnon played the Weird Barbie in the movie. The new doll will feature the hot pink outfit McKinnon wore in the movie markings on Barbie's face, plus oddly cut and colored hair. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. City of Arma celebrates local veterans with its annual VJ Homecoming. Plus, we'll hear from a Joplin-based teacher supply store on the cost of back-to-school shopping for teachers. The 77th annual Arma VJ Homecoming is taking place this weekend. Friday night's festivities kicked off with the Arma VJ Homecoming Cruise Night. The event was put on by the Roland Nostalgia Car Club. The public was invited to enjoy food and fun from 5 to 8 p.m.
Well, we've done the homecoming probably about the last 10 years. And it's just a cruise night. There's no charge. People come in and we give away door prizes, and we'll give away 3 awards, the best of show and 2 club picks.
The Arma VJ Homecoming Association will have more events this weekend, including the 77th annual VJ Homecoming Parade tomorrow morning and a 5K run on Sunday. Back to school is right around the corner, and teachers are filling their classrooms with new supplies for the beginning of the school year. However, the price to pay to revamp and restock a classroom might be higher than you would think, and most of the time the teacher is paying for the majority of the supplies themselves. Around the area, teachers typically get a $100 budget from the school. And 4 States Teacher Resources in Joplin is looking to help out teachers with some discounts.
We did research before we opened, and the average teacher pays over $700 a year, and some of them even more out of their pocket. And we just wanted to help them. We have a sale on right now. Pick a balloon, 5, 10, 15, 20, or 25% off to help them. We're not here to gouge them and get money out of them.
According to the National Education Association, more than 90% of teachers spend their own money on school supplies. One analysis estimated that educators will spend more than $820. AAA wants to remind drivers that school season means seeing more school kids in our neighborhoods and getting on buses. Because drivers may be out of practice, AAA has some tips to get back into the habit of watchful driving during the school season. Follow school drop-off and pick-up procedures and be mindful that these may have changed. Slow down and always stop for school buses. Have children exit a vehicle curbside and eliminate distractions while you're driving. For a more comprehensive list, you can head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. When kids get back to the classroom for the new school year, their new curriculum will likely include at least some form of artificial intelligence. Fox's Eben Brown has more in this edition of our Fox on Tech series.
The new school year is already underway for some students, and it's just around the corner for others, and there could be some big high-tech changes waiting for them in classrooms, with teachers increasingly turning to artificial intelligence programs like BARD and ChatGPT to help students with a range of functions, including research, brainstorming, and formatting.
Teachers can support their students by actively exploring what AI can do well. They also need to help their students understand what uses of AI actually harm their learning.
Experts say determining exactly how much AI is too much will be a balancing act, and teachers need to monitor their students closely, making sure the technology is guiding the learning, not replacing it. Most educators and industry leaders say while there was initial resistance to AI in the classroom, it's now given way to cautious optimism.
We can leverage this technology to help us have better outcomes for the things that we're already doing and to actually solve new problems. So the pushback has died down.
And a big key will be communication. Teachers are being encouraged to explore AI along with their students, pointing out flaws in the programs along the way, all part of getting kids ready for the real world.
Part of our educational mission involves providing students with the skills that they need in their future work and their future civic life, all of which will include generative AI tools.
According to a recent survey, about 92% of all schools and universities are already using some form of AI in their classrooms. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Well, Disney is reportedly moving forward with efforts to explore artificial intelligence by launching a new task force. A report by Reuters says the company is searching for AI experts to fill several positions to explore how Disney can utilize AI efficiently. The report cites unnamed sources close to the issue who say the focus to study AI comes as Disney tries to cut cost from making movies. A bit later, why schools in Florida are requiring permission slips for students to have a nickname in class.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a hot one for us today. Temperatures mid-90s, but heat indices, they were about right around 110 in most locations, which that's no fun. Nice shot right now. Here's Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Look at the parking lots Friday night filling up. And most of us are looking pretty good across the area. Look at our temperatures warming up. We were near 90 yesterday, mid-90s for us today, and it's going to stay kind of hot as we go through the weekend. Temps still sitting mid-80s outside, so it's going to be a warm, kind of muggy night. We still have heat indices. Mid-90s, it still feels like 100 once you get down into northeastern parts of Oklahoma where the humidity is really high, where they've had some showers and thunderstorms. All right, so we're going to drop back lower 70s, scattered thunderstorms as we go into the morning hours. And over the past few hours, you can see this complex kind of dipping right through northeastern Oklahoma. So we've had a few severe thunderstorm mornings in our far southern counties, but besides that, this is all kind of pushing off toward the south. You can still see that big cell, which is now kind of over toward Bentonville. And we still have some scattered showers just south of Miami. One thunderstorm on top of Grand Lake, and then look at that big guy, which is in southern parts of Delaware County. We do have some showers as well across McDonald County. Besides that, I think we're pretty quiet for the next several hours. But look at this complex developing west of Oklahoma City. That is going to expand and work in later on tonight. In fact, let's go through time. I'm going to stop at about midnight. We're still okay. As we continue, look at this. Showers, thunderstorms start to develop. Here's 2 o'clock in the morning. Scattered thunderstorms pushing in, increasing. Here's 5:30 in the morning. It is going to be scattered, but a good chunk of us will get some rain. Scattered thunderstorms continue through the morning hours. So here's 8:30, so it's going to be a wet start. And then finally, late morning, the rain will slowly start to sink out of the region. So if you're at any of the lakes, Beaver, Table Rock, Grand Lake, at least the first half of the day is going to be wet. Look at those rain chances really sneaking up late tonight, and then they go back up again tomorrow night as we get another round of showers and thunderstorms, which is going to push through the region. All right, so here's the noon hour. Still some showers in our southern counties. Then we dry out, we heat up, we go into lower 90s for highs. Then here we go again. So here's 10:30 tomorrow night. Showers, thunderstorms increase, big batch pushes through. Some of those storms could be on the strong side, and then it will start to work out by the time we head into Sunday morning. So over the weekend, we could get some decent amounts of rain. Let's go 92 tomorrow, 94 on Sunday, morning storms. We even get another batch of storms Sunday night into Monday morning, but we do cool down into the 80s Monday and Tuesday. Tanya?
Thanks, Doug. Search and rescue efforts are underway in Hawaii for those missing because of this week's devastating wildfires. At least 67 people have been killed, and officials expect that number will rise. The state's governor toured the devastation yesterday, calling it the largest natural disaster in Hawaii state history. President Biden approved a disaster declaration for the wildfires, clearing the way for federal aid. Coming up in sports, the Cardinals and Royals meet for the third time this season. Plus, East Newton football looks to turn the page in 2023. John Dales has those stories and more coming up next.
At most schools, a trip to the football state championship game is considered a good season, probably a great season. But At Lamar High School, things are a little different. Anything other than winning that state championship, it's a disappointment. Tigers have gone to the state championship game 10 out of the last 12 seasons. They've won 8 of those 10. But in 21 and 22, Lamar came up short in that last game of the year and finished runners-up. Those seniors that have been part of 2 second-place finishes are hungry for a title in 2023.
Yeah, being a senior this year is really special because we're a big program-rich team. So I always looked up to a bunch of guys, so hopefully I can be the guy they look up to this year. It's been good, just trying to improve, get better every day, really just trying to bring the young guys in.
We have a lot of playmakers this year. We have a lot of new guys coming up that could be big playmakers for us, so I think it'll be fairly spread out like normally. These are the guys we've grown up with and played since we were in 3rd grade, and everyone just has a good bond, so it's fun to go out there on Friday nights and play with each other.
East Newton High School football gearing up for the season as well. Patriots went winless a year ago with a very young team that started 6 freshmen and sophomores on both sides of the ball. Now they're going to be young again this season, and their schedule is never easy when you play in the Big 8 Conference. But for head coach Tom Ellis and players that have been a part of the Patriot football program for a few years now, that doesn't change anything.
But we're still struggling. We're in a very, very good conference. You know, we strive to get better every day, compete every day, and then, you know, hopefully on Friday nights that will show.
I think the energy. I think we're all pretty hyped up about it. We're all having fun. I mean, we've gone through some stuff together this year, and some rough things have happened, but I think we're all working through it, and I think we're going to give a lot of effort, have a lot of fun.
I came here my freshman year, and ever since then it's been like, you know, I've been a part of this family. You know, it was instant almost, so it's meant a lot.
Soccer season around the corner as well. MIAA releases its preseason coaches poll for women's soccer this afternoon. Missouri Southern comes in at 10th. Now, this is after the Lions went winless in the non-conference a year ago, but did pick up 2 victories over the teams below them in the poll last season, Newman and Nebraska Kearney in MIAA play. Lions start their season on August 31st, but their first home game is against Truman State on September 8th. And in baseball, Cardinals and Royals meet for the 3rd time and 2nd series of the year. They split the first 2 games of the season back in St. Louis, Game 3, Kansas City, tonight. Offensive shootout at Kauffman Stadium. Royals lead 10-6 in the 8th inning. Kansas City jumped all over Cardinals starting pitcher Adam Wainwright immediately, scoring 4 runs in the first inning, tacking on 5 more in the second. Cards score 6 unanswered to get back into it, but Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvi Perez have been unstoppable tonight with 6 hits and 7 RBIs. That's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Parents in some Florida school districts will have to sign a permission slip for their kids if they want to use a nickname in school. And this new rule has some parents and educators concerned. Fox's Marie Endinger has more.
Memos have already gone out in Orange and Seminole counties. Parents now have to fill out a form detailing every variation of their kid's name they might want to go by. If a transgender student wants to go by a name normally associated with their preferred gender, that is fine. But Florida law states it's up to the teacher whether to use the pronouns the student prefers, even if the parent says it's okay. The head of the Volusia County Teachers Union worries laws like this will be tough to navigate.
When we're focused about staying between the lines and making sure we don't slip, instead of saying he, she, it's just a distractor and it's a deterrent.
Kim Short says her son's name is Michael, but he goes by Mikey. That means she'll have to fill out one of those forms. She agrees the focus on preferred names and pronouns is distracting, but not for the same reasons Albert mentioned.
I think that kids are more resilient than we give them credit for. I think that we tend to, as adults, sometimes make things into a bigger deal than it needs to be. And again, it's distracting from the purpose of school.
In a frequently asked questions page, Orange County Public Schools recommends teachers who aren't sure what to do should just call students by their last names. Albert found that to be impersonal. Short disagrees and says she's actually done that very thing while working as a substitute teacher.
I grew up with a lot of football players and athletes in my lifetime, and a lot of us all went by our last names, and that's just, it was a fun thing.
If we are mandated to follow such strict guidelines and create a sterile environment almost, I will struggle to see how that would be the best place for a student to learn.
Well, coming up, we'll meet a bear living in the lap of luxury with a bubble bath at the Knoxville Zoo. Bears need to stay cool in the summer and, of course, clean. So how about to kill two birds with one stone? Jeannie Moose reports on how a happy accident turned into a cool dip into a bubble bath.
You know the old nursery rhyme? Yeah, well, how about one black bear, a 450-pound black bear, delighting visitors at Zoo Knoxville in Tennessee? How did this 10-year-old named Finn become the bubble bath bear?
It was kind of a happy accident. The keeper staff were cleaning the pond with Dawn.
Dawn dishwashing liquid, the wildlife experts know.
It's tough on grease, yet gentle.
Dawn has been used for decades to clean creatures caught in oil spills. So when keepers finished cleaning the bear pond and the diluted Dawn created a sudsy bath, Finn the bear chose to frolic in it. Viewers were smitten, though one British bear conservation group tweeted, "Betty loves the stinging suds up his nose and in his eyes, not turning a bear into a public freak show." But Zoo Knoxville says its vets clear all products, that there's no problem.
No more than your kids in a bathtub full of bubble bath.
It's the dawn of the Bear Bath Club, with members like Miss Tundra, the grizzly at the Denver Zoo, and minus the suds, this black bear splashing around at the Oregon Zoo. You can almost imagine Finn the bear saying, "Calgon, take me away!"
Indulge yourself in Calgon luxury.
Finn transformed himself from a black bear to a polar bear.
Remember those Calgon commercials? That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We leave you with video of penguins greeting seals and otters at the Oregon Zoo. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.